What made you guys decide to make the move with Kai today versus, at this point in the season? Right?
Well, we just figured it was getting close to, last couple of preseason games, and, Kai did a great job while he was here, he's a great kid. But we just decided to go with Daniel.
What's impressed you the most about Daniel so far?
Probably his leg strength, he's really strong leg, kickoffs are really good, been pretty accurate on the field goals.
Hey Mike, is there anything that stood out to you after watching back Saturday's game that didn't stand out right away?
Pretty much like what I said after the game, the only we ran the ball pretty effectively offensively, I thought. For the most part, the protection was pretty good. We just weren't probably as accurate with the ball. We didn't get any chunk plays, and obviously we didn't hit any third downs.
What'd you think of AC's start at right tackle?
He was good, he played right, left, and guard too, so, good to have a versatile guy in there.
Not to read too much into preseason, but the third preseason game is often the most important. How much?
That's what everybody says,
Yeah.
except me.
But historically, the starters.
Well, historically, it doesn't really matter to me about what anybody else does. We just go out and do like we did the first two games.
Right, but since you've been here, the starters usually play the longest in the third game and not in the fourth game.
Well, we
With
haven't
that-
decided that yet.
With that, well, what is the importance of maybe getting some additional offensive continuity in Friday's game?
Well, we need to get continuity in every phase, but more importantly, we probably need to get a little bit more conditioning.
Mike, how do you feel about, especially with the starting offensive line, the push that they got in the running game? I mean, you feel like it was good or a
Yeah,
lot of improvement?
I thought we had some good runs in there. I thought, with one of Latavia's fumble was a pretty good run, and but yeah, I thought we moved the ball well that way. And one got a couple that was with the second group, but yeah, I think they're coming off the ball well. So we need to continue to get better pass protection. Work on some of those things. They blitz us a good amount, so we need to shore some of the blitz stuff up a little bit.
When you talk about getting more conditioning, how does the conditioning this year compare to previous years? Is anything different, or what aspects do you need?
Not really.
on that?
It's not really any different. About the third week last year, I did the same thing, but go a little bit longer in practice with some of the things, some of the play times.
Mike, from Carlson's perspective, what do you see from him just in terms of personality makeup for clutch situations, pressure that he's going to face?
Yeah, he's been pretty calm all along. So, time will tell on that. It was nice to see them in Denver go out there and kick those, but it'd be a little bit different when we're playing San Francisco, I'm sure. So we'll just see how it goes. You make your decision and you live with it.
Mike, how challenging is it to teach your guys not to do what Williams did on Saturday
What Williams did.
with the penalty driving the quarterback?
Oh, Antoine.
Yeah, Antoine, sorry.
No, it's really not difficult at all. He had his head to the side, everything was good, and then he kind of puffed him up a little bit, at the end. So if he would've just did the same thing and rolled to his left, he'd have been fine. So I don't think, that won't be a big deal. Now, the helmet thing, that might be a big deal.
Mike, do you have watching some of these games and, your game across, do you have a better sense of what is a penalty and what's not going to be a penalty?
No, quite honestly, no. The one that they had called on them.
Hand?
Yeah, the guy's tackling around his legs and he had his head to the side for the most part, so, I actually sent that in, to ask him why was this called? So, and then you see other places, cause I go through the tape and I'm with another coach and I say, I wonder if this is a penalty, I wonder if this is a penalty. So, I think it's very hard to tackle a guy around, Bob is running down here, which I wish he would. And I tried to tackle him around his thigh, waist, my head's probably gonna go down,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it to the side, but it's probably gonna make contact with something.
Do you get a sense that,
I saw, there was, we had a cut block the other day, and the guy goes and cuts, and, is that a penalty, or, I mean, there's a lot of things that, the lineman runs out on the screen, I brought this up when they're talking about this whole thing, the lineman runs out on the screen, and he goes and cuts the linebacker to safety or whatever, is that a penalty? Because I don't know how you can dive like that, so.
do you get a sense that they're maybe calling a lot of them here in the preseason, gonna scale back into the regular season? Because it seems like this is gonna dictate some games with these
Yeah, it's gonna
penalties.
cost some people some jobs. Playoffs, jobs, whole bit, I'm guessing. But, we're gonna keep trying, I mean, we haven't had any call on us so far, but, it's just hard to figure out, no one's ever said to me, hey, don't worry about it, we're gonna call lesson. Or we're gonna straighten it out in the regular season, or we're gonna come up with a, revised rule. No one's ever said that.
In the past, though, when they've had new rules, do you see refs start to, once they get a better handle on it, relax the calls a little bit?
Sometimes, I mean, with the illegal contact a few years ago, in the preseason, there was hundreds of flags, and then they backed off a little bit, so I don't know if that's what they'll do or not.
Would you like that to be reviewable? Given the stakes?
Yeah, but then, they're saying that they're gonna overturn less reviews this year too, so, if that's the case, and, guys, if he goes low, his head's probably gonna be down, so I don't know what good reviewing that would be.
Do you think this could lead to more missed tackles? Because guys are trying to almost go to the side too far to not lead with the helmet?
Well, yeah, it's hard, I mean, I think there's a possibility of that, yeah.
Do you think Brian Robinson also brought up the possibility of guys maybe slowing down and being less aggressive and getting hurt that way? Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't think being hurt that way, I think, they're afraid to get a penalty, maybe, possible. Slowing down at contact, or we had one in the game the other day that kind of looked like that.
Was that Harrison Smith going in?
I don't remember.
Okay.
With Daniil moving over to the right side without Everson, it looked like he was really comfortable there. Would there be any consideration to keeping him on the right, or do you just think it was a matter of a matchup in that game?
We didn't do, he's been practicing, anytime Everson hasn't been here, he's been on that side.
Yeah.
So it really didn't have anything to do with the matchup, but no, he's rushed good from over there. I mean, I'm sure he'll get some rushes on that side this year.
With Odenabo and just how he was able to move outside, is it kind of that same principle that you talked about last week with Jaleel, that maybe if you need to dress fewer of those reserve guys, being able to swing out there, is that kind of that same principle with him too?
Yeah, it's important, for a guy on game day to be able to play, 3 or 4 positions, that's important. So, because a lot of things happened in the game the other day, so we have to be prepared for all those scenarios.
I know you had a number of injuries, but I'll ask you about Ade Aruna, just because he was a draftee. How tough is it to see him lost for the season? What type of progress was he making?
He's a very, very talented kid that, it'll set him back some, but on the same token, we're gonna keep him here for all the meetings and everything, and rehab and do that, so I think that part will be good for him, because that was, the change to the NFL game was probably his biggest, adjustment to make. But he's really talented in everything he can do that way, so it'll be exciting to get him back next year.
Hey, Mike, are you set with who your swing tackle is gonna be this year, or do you wanna see more?
We're trying to get 5 out there right now,
Yeah.
5 guys, so, we're working on it. I mean, that's why we got guys playing a lot of different spots.
How did Gideon and Eric Wilson look on their rush opportunities?
Pretty good, both of them. Both of them played really well in the ballgame. Gideon, like he always is, no one really noticed him. He has 5 tackles and, half a sack this week, whatever it was. And Eric Wilson ran around, he stripped the ball one time on a kind of a busted coverage, and then you know, he got the sack on the one rush, but, those two young linebackers are good players.
Mike, if you're able to get Pat Elflein back in the preseason, what would be the biggest impact that would have on the overall strength of that line?
Well, I think, the quickness that he has in there will be, really important, you know, for some of the plays that we're trying to run. You know, he can reach a guy that's shaded to the side that he's trying to get to, with his quickness, and, obviously, he has very, very few mental errors.
Some of the special teams returns that you guys have had on you, is that a matter of just a lot of backups in there, or are there schematic things that you need to change to limit
Well,
those?
they've all been to our right side, and they've all basically been with young guys, but, you know, we need to get that fixed, yeah. It's, you know, we had a guy starts in the right place and then comes back, you know, when he thinks the guy's going the other way, and so, yeah, we're gonna have to fix that.
Trying to do too much, you feel like, or?
No,
Like
they're
some of
trying
these
to
young guys?
get to the ball, and
Right.
they're over aggressive jumping to the inside when that's not their responsibility. You know, there's a time where it's just more of a timing thing. They get down there and they see the guy inside, so they're gonna try and, you know, work back to the inside, and they're not to the level of where they need to be yet. So they can't go inside until they get to where the ball is, they've got contained on the football.
Time for two more.
Do you anticipate with McKenzie that being a shorter term thing that keeps him out the ankle?
I think so, but I don't really know. I mean, it's, you know, everybody's different, so I really don't know.
Mike, where's Brian?
How's Newman look to you?
Good, good. You know, he's, you know, we've been taking care of him with a lot of things, but, you know, he'll probably get a little bit more work into nickel this week.
Is his, I mean, you've been with him for so long, how is his, the mental part of his anticipation evolved over the years?
Yeah, it's good. You know, this last game when he was in, that wasn't his best game that he's played, so I feel like he's a little bit rusty with, you know, because we've been taking care of him, but, no, his mental thing, that, mental, capacity with football has really helped him maintain being able to play. You know, I watch him very close every day, and I still see a lot of really, really good qualities with him, with his acceleration and, you know, his techniques and things like that, so, you know, but he'll get a few more plays this week, I think.
Can't be much that he hasn't seen.
No, he's probably seen just about as much as I have, pretty much. All right, thanks.